My billionaire son-in-law gifted me a brand new SUV. My husband's sisters called me spoiled until I revealed what they did to my daughter. The moment my son-in-law Marcus pulled up to my house driving a brand new pearl white Range Rover with a giant red bow on top, I thought he'd made a mistake. "Marcus, honey, I think you have the wrong address," I called out as he stepped out of the driver's seat grinning. "No mistake, Mom Gloria," he said, handing me the keys. "Happy birthday. You've earned this 1,000 times over." I was still standing there in shock when my husband's three sisters drove up for my birthday dinner and saw the $98,000 SUV in my driveway. Their faces went from surprise to undisguised jealousy in seconds. "Well, isn't that excessive?" my sister-in-law Patricia said coldly. "Some people certainly know how to take advantage of their children's success." That's when my daughter Janelle, Marcus's wife, stepped out of the house and said, "Take advantage? Let me tell you exactly what my mother sacrificed to raise me after all three of you refused to help when my father died. My name is Gloria Hartwell, and I'm 59 years old. 23 years ago, I lost my husband Robert in a car accident when our daughter Janelle was only 9 years old. Robert was 35, I was 36, and in one terrible moment, I became a widow with a young daughter and no life insurance because we'd been young and healthy and thought we had time. Robert had three sisters, Patricia, Linda, and Diane. They were all older than him, all established in their lives with grown children and financial stability. When Robert died, they came to the funeral, cried appropriately, and then disappeared from our lives when we needed them most. I was working as a receptionist at a dental office, making barely enough to cover our rent. Robert had been the primary earner as a sales manager. When he died, I lost not just my husband, but our financial stability. I'll never forget the family meeting 2 weeks after Robert's funeral. His sisters came to my small apartment, sat in my living room, and I actually thought they were there to offer help. "Gloria, we've been talking," Patricia began, "and we think it might be best if Janelle comes to stay with one of us for a while. Just until you get back on your feet financially."
Ist sehr daher.
"You want to take my daughter?" "Not permanently," Linda jumped in. "Just temporarily. You're struggling, we can all see that. Janelle deserves stability." "I can provide stability," I said, my voice shaking. "She just lost her father. She needs her mother." "Gloria, be realistic," Diane said. "You're working a minimum wage job. You live in a 2-bedroom apartment in a rough neighborhood. Janelle should be in a good school district in a safe home with people who can actually afford to raise her properly." "People like you?" I asked, anger replacing shock. "We're just offering to help," Patricia said. "Janelle could live with me. I have the space, my kids are grown, and I could give her opportunities you can't afford." What they weren't saying directly, but was crystal clear in subtext. They didn't think I was good enough to raise Robert's daughter. They thought I was poor, struggling, inadequate.
And they wanted to take my child.
"Janelle stays with me," I said firmly. "She's my daughter. I'll figure it out." Patricia's expression hardened. "Gloria, we're trying to help you. But if you're going to be proud and stubborn, don't come asking us for money when you can't make rent or feed her properly." "I won't ask you for anything," I replied. And I didn't. Not once in the next 14 years did I ask Robert's sisters for a single dollar, even when we were eating rice and beans for dinner 5 nights a week, even when I was working 3 jobs to keep us in that small apartment, even when Janelle needed things for school and I was scraping together change to pay for them. Robert's sisters interpreted my refusal to ask for help as confirmation that I was managing fine. They didn't call to check on Janelle. They didn't invite her for holidays or summer vacations. They sent a card with $20 for her birthday and Christmas, and that was the extent of their involvement in their niece's life. I worked myself to exhaustion raising Janelle alone. I worked my receptionist job during the day, cleaned offices at night, and did weekend catering gigs whenever I could get them. I missed sleep, I missed meals, I wore the same 5 outfits for years because every spare dollar went to making sure Janelle had what she needed. But I also made sure Janelle knew she was loved, that her father would be proud of her, and that being poor didn't mean being less than anyone else. I helped with her homework every night no matter how tired I was. I attended every school event even if I had to leave work early and lose pay. I sacrificed everything to give her a childhood that felt secure and loved even though we had so little money. Janelle was brilliant. She got scholarships, worked part-time through high school, and earned a full ride to a prestigious university for business. He asked about my work, my life, and when Janelle told him the story of how I'd raised her alone after her father died, Marcus looked at me with respect that made me tear up. Mrs. Hartwell, Gloria, your daughter is the most impressive person I've ever met, Marcus said. And now I know where she gets her strength. You raised her alone, working multiple jobs, never giving up. That's incredible. Marcus and Janelle got married 2 years ago. It was a beautiful wedding that Marcus paid for, and he insisted I should have whatever I wanted, that I'd earned the celebration after years of sacrifice. Robert's sisters came to the wedding, of course. They were suddenly. When I looked out the window, I saw Marcus standing next to a stunning pearl white Range Rover with a giant red bow on the hood. I ran outside. Marcus, what is this? Happy birthday, Mom, Marcus said, using the name he'd called me since marrying Janelle. This is for you. Marcus, this is too much. I can't accept a car like this. Yes, you can, Janelle said, coming out of the passenger side. Mom, you drove a 20-year-old Honda that broke down twice a month. You deserve something reliable and nice. You deserve luxury after years of sacrifice. But this must have cost. It costs less than what you spent in sacrifice raising me alone, Janelle interrupted. Please, Mom, let us do this for you. You've earned it 1,000 times over. I was crying, hugging my daughter and my son-in-law, overwhelmed by their generosity and love. I was still standing there processing this incredible gift when 3 cars pulled up, Robert's sisters arriving for the birthday dinner we'd planned. Patricia got out of her car first, her eyes going immediately to the Range Rover. My goodness, Gloria, what's this? It's my birthday present, I said, still holding the keys, still in shock. Linda and Diane walked over, circling the SUV, their expressions hard to read. Well, this is quite extravagant, Linda said, her tone making it clear she didn't mean it as a compliment. Some people certainly know how to benefit from their children's success, Patricia added, shooting a look at Marcus and Janelle. Benefit. Marcus repeated, his voice dangerously quiet. You think Gloria is benefiting from us? I just mean it's a very expensive gift, Patricia said, backtracking slightly. You said she couldn't afford to raise me properly. You said I deserved better than what she could provide. You told us you didn't need our help. I told you I wouldn't ask for your help because you'd made it clear the only help you were offering was taking my daughter away, I clarified. But you're right, I managed fine. I managed by working 3 jobs. I managed by sacrificing everything. I managed by making sure Janelle had everything she needed even if I had nothing. And now she's going to let us spoil her, Marcus said firmly. We're buying her whatever she wants, whenever she wants it, because she earned it. So if you have a problem with this Range Rover or any other gift we give her, keep it to yourself. There was a long, uncomfortable silence. Patricia, Linda, and Diane stood there looking embarrassed and defensive, unable to argue with the truth of what had been said. I think maybe we should go, Patricia finally said. This doesn't seem like a good time for a birthday dinner. Actually, you should go, Janelle said. Mom, Marcus, and I are going to dinner to celebrate. You 3 weren't really invited. I told Mom you'd asked to come, and she was too polite to say no. But let's be honest, you haven't been part of our family for 20 years. Don't start pretending now just because there's money involved. Patricia's face flushed red. Janelle, we're your aunts. We're family. Family shows up, Janelle said simply. You didn't. My mother is my family. Marcus is my family. You're just people who share DNA with my dead father. The 3 sisters left without another word, getting into their cars and driving away. I watched them go, feeling an unexpected sense of relief. I'm sorry, Mom, Janelle said, putting her arm around me. I should have said that years ago.
Don't apologize, I said.
You're right. They weren't there when we needed them. They don't get to judge how we live now. We went to dinner, just the 3 of us, and it was perfect. I drove my new Range Rover, And every time I looked at it, I felt overwhelmed by gratitude and love for my daughter and son-in-law. Over the next few weeks, Patricia tried to reach out several times. She sent text messages apologizing, saying she hadn't realized how hard things had been, asking if we could repair the relationship. I thought about it for a long time before responding. Finally, I wrote back. Patricia, when Robert died, you had a choice. You could have supported me and your niece, or you could have judged me as inadequate and disappeared. You chose to disappear. For 20 years, you weren't part of our lives. Now that Janelle has succeeded and married someone wealthy, you want back in. But relationships don't work that way. You don't get to skip the hard years and show up for the comfortable ones. Janelle and I built a family without you. We're fine without you now. I wish you well, but we're done. I blocked her number after that. Linda and Diane didn't even try to reach out, they knew better. Today, I'm 59 years old, driving a Range Rover that my billionaire son-in-law bought me because he respects the sacrifices I made to raise his wife. Robert's sisters probably still think I'm spoiled or taking advantage of my daughter's success. But here's what they don't understand. I earned this. Every luxury Marcus and Janelle give me now, I earned through 20 years of working 3 jobs, missing sleep, wearing old clothes, eating less so my daughter could have more. I earned it by being the mother who stayed when everyone else said I couldn't do it alone. That Range Rover isn't just a car. It's recognition of sacrifice, acknowledgement of love, and a statement that the woman who was told she couldn't provide enough has provided everything that mattered. Robert's sisters had money, stability, and resources when we needed help. But they didn't offer support. They offered judgment and an attempt to take my child. They disappeared from our lives because they thought poverty made me unworthy. Now they're jealous of a car they think I don't deserve. But they're wrong. I deserve this and so much more. I deserve every good thing my daughter and son-in-law want to give me. Because while Robert's sisters were living comfortably and ignoring their struggling niece, I was raising an exceptional woman who would grow up to marry a billionaire who saw her worth. And that billionaire saw my worth too, not because of money I had, but because of the love and sacrifice I gave. My son-in-law bought me a $98,000 SUV. My husband's sisters called me spoiled. But the truth is simpler than that. I raised a daughter who loves me enough to make sure I'm finally comfortable after years of struggle. And that's not being spoiled. That's being loved by someone you loved through everything. The Range Rover sits in my driveway, pearl white and beautiful. And every time I drive it, I think about 9-year-old Janelle and 36-year-old me facing the world alone, determined to make it work. We made it work. More than work. We built something beautiful out of struggle. And now we're living the life we earned, whether Robert's sisters think we deserve it or not. They had their chance to be part of our family. They chose judgment over support. Now they're outside looking in, jealous of gifts they think are excessive, unable to see that every luxury we have now is earned through years of sacrifice they witnessed and ignored. The Range Rover is just the beginning. Marcus and Janelle are already planning more, a vacation, upgrades to my apartment, anything I need or want. And I'm going to accept it all with gratitude and joy, because I've spent 20 years earning the right to be taken care of by the daughter I raised through impossible odds. My husband's sisters can stay jealous. I'll be driving my Range Rover, living my best life, surrounded by people who actually showed up when it mattered.